In this video, I'm going to share with you how to attract clients. And when I say attract, I mean attract. Not be the one who is initiating, going out there and trying to convince people to work with you, not sending any cold DMs, not hopping on endless social media trends and feeling like you need to take a shower after, not doing anything that feels icky or weird or out of alignment. You've probably been told you have to send messages, you have to post on social media, you have to invite people to your free things, etc., etc. And not that these things don't work, but they probably don't work for you in the same way they don't work for people like us who are spiritual people in business. If your content is not this highly palatable content that is super delicious but not nutritious, the burgers and fries of social media, if your content is not like that, if your stuff is not shallow, if it's deep and it requires a little bit more time to unfold and to understand the depth of it, you might struggle with typical mainstream advice because you're not selling how to make $1 million by next Friday. That's not your offer. That's not your thing. Instead, it's something that requires trust, that requires relationship building. But what happens is if you are a highly sensitive person, it's extremely hard to be on social media because you're absorbing everybody else's energy. It's really difficult to navigate the space itself. It's draining. You'd much rather be in nature, be in deep conversations, or just be alone than to do this kind of stuff. So this is why most people like us don't like marketing, even though I speak as a marketer who's been a marketer for more than 17 years. At some point, I almost left my marketing career because I was just like, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. This feels so predatory and so icky. And the only way to make it work, I thought, was to just trick people. And I didn't want to be that person who tricked and pushed or sold my soul, so to speak. So, what works? I'm going to share something with you that might sound so simple, but I promise you this works. This is what works. And I've worked with hundreds of brands at this point. And I didn't just work as a marketer, I also had more than 10 years of experience running my own business. What works today is what worked 3,000 years ago. It's what worked 10,000 years ago. It's what has always worked. Social media may be new. Modern day online marketing may be new, but human psychology and what makes people want to do stuff or take action is still the same. So if you were a traveler in an ancient city 3,000 years ago and nobody knows who you are and you have something to share, something to offer, you'd agree with me, I think, that the first thing you would need to do is you'd need to be clear on what is it that you're offering, on its value, and you need to present it to people and you need to earn some trust, right? So it's really simple when you think about it. Like you're landing in this new city or this new town, people don't know you, don't trust you necessarily, don't understand sometimes what you're offering. Well, you've got to find the right people, you've got to share with them what you've got, but that is only going to come on the back of real trust and real relationships. Unless if you are a merchant who is a seasoned merchant with something that you know is highly desirable, like you're selling silk, everybody knows silk, everybody wants to have silk, and you have an excellent price, you go anywhere, people are going to buy it. But if you're bringing something that people haven't heard of before, or it's for a very specific person, or it's very unique or different or new, it's not that simple. You don't just like plant a flag the first day in the market and suddenly have people flocking to you and buying your stuff. So what do you do? The first thing you want to do is get clear on your value proposition. Your value proposition, in simple terms, it's what is the benefit of your thing, your product, service, offer, whatever it is that you sell. What does it do for people in a real way? How does it impact their lives? How does it impact them emotionally, internally? Okay, so you want to get clear on the value, on the benefit. That's your value proposition. And then the other thing you want to get clear on is your positioning, and you have to have strong positioning. Positioning is what differentiates you. It's what makes your offer completely unique and different. Now, you might be thinking, what I have is completely unique. Nobody has ever seen it before. That may be true, but people are always going to compare you to something. This is not because they fail to see the uniqueness of your offer. This is because this is exactly how the human brain works. Humans need to compare things to things. They need a point of reference to make sense of things. Black and white, cold and hot, good and bad. We make sense of things by comparing them to something or having some sort of point of reference. So people will compare you to something. But the question is, when they do, What is it about your offer or about you that's going to stand out and be completely different and unique? If they can't compare you to something that they already understand, they will not be able to make sense of your work. It's a good thing that you are innovative, but if you are too innovative, too out there, with absolutely no point of reference for people to compare you to, they're not going to get it. Even if your work is not just that, put that aside because you're talking to complete strangers. They need to make sense of you for a moment, and that will make them interested in getting to know you. And then they can go down the rabbit hole of understanding just how deep your work is and how much more than that it is, and that it's not just that. Okay, so now that you've clarified your value proposition and a strong positioning, which by the way, you don't have to make a perfect statement. This is just for you, it's not for the public. For you to have this understanding before you go out there and start building relationships. This is where people go wrong. They go into these random Facebook groups, for example, and they post stuff that's valuable and they think, oh, I'm sharing value here. I'm adding value. So surely if I do this for 7 days straight, clients are going to start coming my way. That's not necessarily the case because this stuff requires that you build real relationships. And here's how I did it. I'm going to give you exactly what I did. Instead of thinking about building an audience, which by the way is still one of my goals, I'm still doing it. And I think it's one of the most valuable assets you can create. But instead of attracting an audience, I thought of it as social asset. A social asset made of specific people that I handpick very intentionally. And I went for 3 kinds of people. The first type of person is my ideal buyer. Now, in the beginning, I didn't have a niche. I don't think I even have a niche today, but that was very hard for me to decide who is my ideal buyer if I don't have a niche. Who would benefit most from your work? What kind of person is your creation for? Even if you're not sure about your offer yet, think about the impact you want to make, the value proposition that I just talked about, and the positioning, and ask yourself, what kind of person would find this super valuable? And also, who would make this work easy? Who would be an easy yes, where if you worked with them, your work would flow because you don't have to do convincing, there is trust, you're aligned on the values. For me, it was very simple description. I like people who are highly sensitive. I like people who are artistic by nature, who are truly spiritual or mystic, who are connected to their hearts and souls, who are entrepreneurial but want to do it in a way that feels right. This is my kind of person. And of course, it's the person is so much more than that, just like you are so much more than that. You probably tried to explain what you do in 150 characters and realized it wasn't that simple. It's the same thing for your ideal buyer. You can't really encapsulate them in just such a short bit of space, but you can try, and it's a feeling. So trust your feeling. If you meet somebody and you feel that they would be someone you'd love to work with, that you can make an impact for them, make a connection. I'm not saying sell them or even invite them into anything. I'm just saying connect. Now, for the sake of this video, I'm trying to keep it brief, but I teach my clients the different layers in a relationship building. And the first one is attention. So you've got to get their attention in some way. Doesn't matter where you are. Social media, doesn't matter which social media platform or even off of social media. I have some clients who meet their ideal buyers offline completely. They don't use any internet and they have successful businesses. They create meetup events. Like they go to meetup.com or Eventbrite. They create a free, sound healing session. They attract a bunch of people and they just connect. Just connect, nothing more. No expectation, no trying to sell them anything. You're offering them something and inviting them to stay in touch with you. The best way to stay in touch, make content like this that is super valuable. Instead of being like, give me your number and I'm going to call you or whatever, which may seem like a very big jump for a person who has just met you. If you simply say, here's my YouTube channel, or here's my Instagram, or here's my website where I post a blog every week, or sign up to my newsletter, whatever it is, they have a great way to stay in your world without any pressure. Okay, so we said the first person we said is your ideal buyer. The second type of person I went for in my social circle or my social asset that I was building was the person who influenced my ideal buyer. Who's that? That's basically peers, people like you, other teachers, guides, mentors, facilitators, healers who are working with your ideal buyer. Anybody who influences them, should probably be in your circle. Again, only if you feel aligned with the person, keyword feel, you feel you get along with them, because that's how you know it's going to be a good connection. It's all in the feelings. Why do you reach out to these people and connect with them? Because you can support each other on the journeys. You can co-create content, you can co-create products and services. What happened for me is people started inviting me on podcasts, they started inviting me to speak in different rooms, started sending me referrals, things like that. The third kind of person I like to connect with is a person that I want to be influenced by. So I know the word influence may feel weird for some people because we recognize it's about power, and most of us have not seen very positive examples of power. But we are always influencing and being influenced. We have to just be mindful of who we allow to influence us. Pick the people you want to be influenced by. For me, it's people who have the skills that I want to develop, people who have built their lives in ways that align with me, people who have similar values, who are doing really well in different areas and inspire me. When I look at them, I want to be healthier, I want to eat better, I want to do better, I perform better. They just add to my life just by being who they are. So I surround myself with people like that because it's just great to be influenced by those people. If I'm going to be influenced by anyone, might as well pick who that person is. So to recap, your ideal buyer, people who influence your ideal buyer, and people you want to be influenced by, who are people who have the skills that you want to develop. Okay, so now what I want to stress more than anything is that this is not a 7-day thing. This is not a 3-month thing. This is a lifetime thing. You have to be committed to this. You have to be committed to building these relationships and nurturing these relationships and totally letting go of how long it's going to take before these relationships come to quote unquote fruition, right? Get to a point where you start to see your good karma come back to you. And this is important. You have to contribute to this community. Like if you're in this ancient city 3,000 years ago and nobody knows who you are, and you're offering something that's totally new, people don't know you, don't trust you yet, don't know anything about what you're selling, make it an easy yes for them by offering so much goodness in a way that works with your energy. Don't overdo it, don't bend over backwards, but give stuff that makes people experience what it's like to work with you. Or if you have a product, give them a sample. Create content like this that is educational, that is helpful, that solves the problem or helps meet their desires. Give them a trial of your things without any expectation. And like I said, in a way that works for you. If you don't have the energy or the time to be jumping on endless calls with people, don't do that, because that's going to create resentment in you when those things don't bring an immediate return. But what you can do is do a group thing or pre-record something and put it out there and forget about it. So endless people watch it and it doesn't take more time and energy from you. But the point is that you've got to share good stuff that shows what kind of person you are, that shows your values, and that shows the value that you can bring in a real way. Help people, and you won't have to ask. They will think of you when they need or want what you have to offer. But all of this is on the back of having a clear value proposition and strong positioning. Without those things, you may be a really nice person who is overgiving, overdoing it, constantly offering, 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 and getting nothing in return and wondering why. So, your ideal buyers are everywhere. I've had clients who came to me through content, just straight up watching some videos and then reaching out and saying, hey, I felt really connected to you. I've had clients reach out to me because somebody told them, whether it's a client or somebody who was a peer. I had clients come to me because we've been introduced through a mutual connection. I've met people outside waiting in line. I've met people outside while having a random conversation with a stranger, and a couple hours later, this person wants to work with me. I've met people while I'm taking an Uber. Just put yourself out there and have conversations with people. This is so, so, so important. I know you probably don't like to be talking all day, every day with strangers, and it drains your energy to be in big crowds and you prefer solitude. I know that because I know that. Don't ask me how I know. I know. And you don't have to completely open yourself up. You don't have to constantly be talking to strangers, but open yourself up just a little bit, just 2% more than you would usually be. Like don't be looking down at your feet as you're walking. Look at people, be open to conversations, whether online or offline, anywhere you go, because your network is likely where most of your clients are going to come from if you are following this kind of way, which is the most human, most normal, most non-marketing marketing there is. I mean, I shouldn't say it's non-marketing marketing. It really is. This is what marketing is. It's finding a group of people that you want to serve and creating something beautiful for them, listening, understanding their needs, and presenting it back to them. That's the most human thing ever. It's not something that was invented yesterday. This is something that emerged as part of being a human being, as part of the exchange that goes on in societies. And if you want help figuring out your core message and figuring out what's the best marketing for you that works with your energy, specifically with your business, I'd love to invite you to the Brand Conviction Sprint. This is going to become a paid product in the future, but you can get it for free if you join me on April 5th. And as a bonus, you'll also get a Q&A with me, so you can ask me anything about your business, whether it's about your messaging, your marketing, your offer, whatever it may be. I'd love to help you with it. That's going to be in the comments wherever you're watching this. Check out the link to register, and I can't wait to see you there. Take care.